Hi everyone, it's Takia here. I'm currently studying architecture in London and I have to do some uni work now because otherwise I'm going to fail. So we've began this new project which is called Threshold, and we started nearly like a week ago, but I forgot to record my work in progress. So let me quickly show you what I've been up to. Always start off with a mind map and just brainstorm some quick ideas. I didn't really have many ideas here. And then I've done, we were given this really quick task to do drawings and sort of record the thresholds around our rooms. Some of them had to be real, like one or two real thresholds, and one or two metaphorical thresholds, such as the laptop and the luggage, stuff like this. And then I just gathered around some of the movies and animes and a novel that it came in my mind when thinking of metaphorical threshold, because all of these movies and book that chosen, they all have a type of threshold such as time or distance, magic versus reality as one of their key motifs in the stories. Did some primary research, gathered around a bunch of images on my area, recording thresholds I found, and then very quick sketches. I spent like 1 minute for each sketch here, and used to sort of get some ideas of how we can make a threshold. And then another mind map of potential sites, and yeah, it's when it gets interesting, because I was really confused about what site I wanted to select for my project. So I decided to make a list here of the places that I frequently visit in London or I enjoy going, and then I picked a random one and it ended up being Hyde Park. Here it's just screenshots of the potential sites, and as you can see, it ended up being Hyde Park. Here it's just like 2 failed pages, a waste of pages. But yeah, here I've done some annotation, context analysis, and brainstorm some ideas. Here I found this architect, I think he's Michael Kosman, and in a project that he done in Hyde Park, he had this beautiful, really simple but effective in showing his ideas. So I tried to sort of replicate that. I used some colors in my one, and here the idea was to make a bunch of structures that are connected to trees. However, they are disconnected from each other, but together they sort of make a structure, if it makes sense. And yeah, the idea behind it was to make them camouflage. I've got some artist research, artist studies, did some quick sketches of my ideas, and now it's time for me to do some more work. I'm doing it really quickly because I'm trying to produce as many of these quick sketches as possible, since I've been falling a bit behind recently. So yeah, I'm just trying to see how this structure could be made of, and yeah, I know like the drawings are terrible, but the main goal for me here was to brainstorm my ideas. After finishing my quick and very beautiful sketches, as you can see, sticking them on the sketchbook, because you don't want to make them fall and lose them and make your life more messier. I'm making a third one here, and this is like another idea that I have for this project, which is to make these structures of sculptures sort of and attach them on trees around, and they would be in the form of the leaves of the trees that they are attached of, and they would create this type of canopy, and by putting them in different trees around it, they like overall would make a entire structure, entire sort of pavilion, whatever I decided to call it later on by the end of the project. And the idea was that it doesn't make you realize when you're crossing the threshold or not. Like when you're walking through this path, you just feel like, oh, you're still in nature, but in reality you are in nature but inside a structure. I don't know if it makes sense, this idea, but I think I have to just do more visual drawings and sort of show how I could execute this idea. And let's go back to sticking them on the sketchbook. Now I've decided to do some sketchings, proper sketchings, take a bit more time to make them neatly. And here are my two ideas. The tunnel, which basically is like to make you appreciate the surrounding nature and takes you through this journey and makes you more aware of your surrounding. I don't know if it makes sense. And the second one is to make these sculptural leaves that attach to the trees around, and all together they make a structure, a disconnected structure, and it doesn't really, and they are really like camouflaged to the surrounding. That doesn't really make you feel like you're inside a man-made structure. And I'm trying to just do a bunch of drawings. I've decided to do some 3D models, timing myself, and I gave 10 minutes for each 3D model that I'm going to do, which is 3. And it's kind of weird because it has been around a week that we have started this new project, but I didn't really got to do much hands-on work like 3D models, and we just have like another week left till our final presentation of this project. The first 3D model done, and now let's move on to the second one, which is basically my idea of installing these, I don't know how to call them, sculptures or structures in these trees, and they sort of create this canopy. And no, it doesn't really make sense to attach canopies to trees because trees, they already provide sun and protection from the wind, but it's more to do with sculptural meaning, like it's more to do with the artistic meaning, like knowing when you're inside the threshold or when you're outside of it. Hope it makes sense. Finally, it's time for the last 3D model, and here I don't really know what I was doing. It's like a combination between my idea of making this tunnel and the idea of making these man-made leaves, like huge structural leaves attached to the trees, but it's sort of a hybrid between these two. And since I gave myself 10 minutes, I couldn't really plan every 3D model that I was going to do. So that's basically what I did at the end. Now I went back to sketching these 3D models that I've done, and sort of trying to add stuff, manipulate with the form and the shapes of it, and also maybe add some texture on them to see how they look. And that's basically what I did after making these 3D models, which is like literally what I do most of the time with all the projects. I make these quick sketch models and then draw them and add stuff and play around with them in my drawings. And that's all for today and yesterday. I spent like 2 days making this work, and I just ended up sticking the 3D models that I've done at the end. And if you made it this far, you can go and check out my previous design with me if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.